I'm Jacques. I'm a composer for mostly video games. I've done about 30 games or so in my career since 1996. I did Jade Empire for BioWare, and they asked me to audition for their next game, and they had some code name for it. I didn't even know what it was, and they said, hey, we want to do something like 80s synthesizer, like Tangerine Dream or Vangelis' score to Blade Runner. So I was really intrigued by that because I hadn't done anything like that before. But at the same time, we didn't want it to sound exactly like that, right? We wanted to modernize all that a bit. It was the 80s synthesizer, but sort of brought into the future. Casey Hudson, the director of the game, would say, imagine that you're in the orchestra with a keyboard synthesizer, and it's going through an amplifier, and that amplifier is being mic'd, and it's got reverb on it, and it blends in perfectly with the orchestra. They flew me up to Edmonton, where they're located, and at the very end of the meeting, that first meeting, they said, oh, there's this one other track that was done in the audition that we want to play for you because we really like it.
BioWare had asked Jacques to pitch for this project, and he was too busy, so he recommended me. And I started the demo process for Mass Effect 1. And later on, it turns out Jacques actually had the free time, so he pitched as well, and we were basically competing for the same project. And so BioWare hired him to work on the score, but you know, they liked my stuff, my demo materials.
I think today it's still my favorite piece of all the pieces in Mass Effect. It blows every other one away to me, because you hear it and you're in the Mass Effect universe immediately, and there's nothing like it. I spent the first 6 months alone on the project, and then it got kind of crazy, so we brought Sam in. I regard Sam as my co-composer anyway on the first two games because he wrote some really great themes. He largely wrote the main theme for Mass Effect 1. The Citadel was a really big focus for Mass Effect 1. It was the hub of everything. And the Presidium, when you arrive, it's a melding of different races that have come together on the Citadel to be peaceful and to try to have a galactic civilization. I wanted to make it this sort of place of wonder, but underneath the surface, there's something really, really twisted going on. There's an ethnic sort of exotic instrument called a duduk. It plays, and it's just sort of dissonant with the rest of the harmonic structure of the piece. So it just is a little bit unsettling. When you get into like the wards and things like that, there's a little more of that in a different kind of way. It's that enigmatic, has that enigmatic quality. I thought I captured something cool with that. And it's all very simple music. It's not really utterly overwrought or complex. The melodies are really accessible and they're simple, and they speak, I think they speak really clearly. When Sam came on with me halfway through the production of Mass Effect 1, he worked maybe for about a month on some stuff that we needed to get done. And then about 6 more months went by, and I was just toiling away. And then suddenly, all the cinematics fell in my lap. And it was just all at the end. It was 40 minutes of cinematics, and we had 2 weeks to do it. If you're cooking pretty good, you can write about 2 minutes a day of really good music. And that's really like pretty good. I said, I can do it in 3 weeks, but I need 2 more guys. So I have to create a team for the last month of this project. That's when I got Richard Jacques involved. And that's when I got David Cates involved.
I got a call from Jacques asking me to come on board and provide around 30 minutes of music for the project. It was pretty scary because I think I had something like 2.5 weeks. I was given a whole load of documents with explaining about the story and the characters, and I'd followed the game's development anyway, so I was very happy to be, to be on board and just to jump straight in and start scoring the scenes. Yeah, with the Citadel, I mean, this was a great scene to score. I started off scoring that scene quite understated, as you see the Normandy fly through space, and then as soon as you see these clouds in space, I kind of gradually build and build, but suddenly open up as soon as you see the Citadel. So it's all about impact, really, that scene. And then, of course, towards the end of the scene, you see the Normandy actually coming into dock, and Shepard walks on the Citadel for the first time. So it's a real pivotal moment in the game.
What I love about it is that we really worked together on it, because it was the Presidium. Half of it was the main theme, and the other half was the Presidium theme, because after you see the Citadel for the first time, there's this big reveal musically and visually. And then as you're coming in for a landing, he takes it and moves it to the Presidium theme, so that when you land, you're already there.
When Shepard stands before the council and this track, Spectre Induction, plays, I knew that it had to have a sense of optimism and slightly, a sense of heroicness, but also anticipation. I wanted to create something that was both triumphant in the sense that he'd made it to the council and he had acceptance from them, but also this is, in a way, was the start of the really long journey. In that sense of, we're not quite sure how things are going to go for Shepard. And it's all about this very unnerving, otherworldly sound that we wanted to create for the creature. And there was a lot of analog synthesis that we used for that, a lot of arpeggiators and a lot of effects put on the sounds. But they were used in a way that was almost atonal. It's very uncomfortable to listen to, if you like. It's nothing very tonal, nothing very familiar, but it's largely kind of very dark, ambient electronic music and some kind of strange sounds, some metallic sounds, and some just very kind of haunting, unnerving sounds.
If you're creating ambient music, there has to be an underlying emotion that's trying to convey, right? It's not there for no reason. Your job as the composer is to make sure that, those little things that you hear in the background, the deep background, what was that? You're sort of signifying, even though there's nothing there, you're sort of signifying that there's something out there that you don't know about.
The use of the stereo and the 5.1 surround field is a very useful one, because we have all this space to play with. Some of my sounds were placed in one speaker just throughout the track, some were moving around, some of the orchestral instruments were placed dead in the center. So it's an idea of giving this really wide soundscape. It's a good trick for a project like this.
Adding spatial effects and panning effects just kind of add something on top of it to focus the player's interest and kind of add some texture to it.
I'm totally into stuff bouncing back and forth all the time. It's really fun. I do it all the time. The goal when you're writing a score is not to be noticed, really. You're just supposed to be felt. The focus for me is just to serve the story and the experience of what the gamer is doing.
Join Backtrack this Wednesday as composing Mass Effect continues with Mass Effect 2 and a more personal score focused on its diverse cast of characters. In the meantime, head over to Side Mission all this week to read full interviews with each of the composers featured in our series.